This is AM 800 CKLW. Coming up at 6, it's Primetime Sports, followed by Dr. Joy at 7. First, more of Windsor Now on AM 800. Here's Melanie DeVoe.
There's an event that's taking place at Caesars Windsor. It's the Industry Accident Prevention Association Showcase 2008 Health and Safety Conference and Trade Show. I know that's a very, very long title, but there are some very interesting subjects that are being discussed. And one of them has to do with building green. And joining me is a man who spoke at the conference yesterday, Joe Passa. He's president of Passa Associates Incorporated here in Windsor. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Melanie. It's nice to be on your show.
You know what? I'm so happy to have you on because I think this is important, and I think for a lot of us, we don't know how we can make buildings greener. We don't know where to start. What sorts of things have you been doing?
Well, we actually started with the Catholic Board doing schools with them about 6 years ago in a very environmental way, just by designing them, looking at the site considerations, building them smaller, condensing them more, looking at how to make the building envelope much more energy efficient by adding a lot more insulation, which is really one of the main things that we want to do, is make a better box for buildings so that you lessen your loads for mechanical and energy requirements, making ducts smaller, motors smaller, and everything else to feed the building.
Well, in this day and age, it makes sense because that's a pretty big bill for something like a school board, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and we've got the efficiency down very, very good, and we've had some of the most energy efficient buildings built here in Windsor.
What are some of the other trends in going green?
Well, we look at, of course, the equipment that we put in the building, but also water efficiency, low flow fixtures, possibly gray water systems. Look at having operable windows in all the classrooms so you can let in the air on the off seasons, and various things with daylighting, bringing lots of daylight so we can light the building up and have shutdown procedures on the lights. We can look at finished materials with low VOCs, fiberglass windows we use a lot in our buildings because they're very high energy savings with the way they work, and green roofs. We've had a lot of green roofs on our buildings because it really aids in cooling.
What exactly is a green roof?
A green roof is we actually put plants on top of the roof, which is a way that we can do it with very lightweight soil and use indigenous planting that allows, well, when the sun hits it, it makes the evaporation occur that provides cooling so you don't have the heat going through the building as much as possible and make the cooling actually more difficult.
Yeah, I like that idea. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But what do we do if we're already in a building, say a building that's 10, 15 years old? Is there any way to make improvements, retrofits maybe?
Well, we have done that. We have done that with a building just recently at the hospital, where we managed to really tear it apart and put it back together again, mind you. But it was an existing building with very good structure where we could insulate all the walls very, very well, and we could put in-floor cooling and heating, where that is extremely efficient than making smaller ducts so we don't have to blow as much air around the buildings. And again, we put all the windows we changed over to fiberglass, and we put a green roof on top of it as well. So that building in particular is most energy efficient in this area.
When you do in-floor heating, do you have to have a hot water heating system?
Yes, you do. You have a boiler system as well as a chiller that makes the water cold for the summertime.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know we're actually renovating a bathroom in my house right now, and somebody had suggested doing that with the heat, but ours, unfortunately, is steam heat out of the boiler, not hot water, so it has to be specifically hot water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it works very, very well, and you find that with the most energy-efficient buildings now, in-floor heating and cooling is really the way to go, and we started that with our St. Christopher School just off the expressway behind the mall, and it really is the norm now for extremely energy-efficient buildings.
Are there grants available when you're doing this sort of work?
Not so much for the actual physical part of it. There are grants to bring on for the analysis when we hire energy consultants to do a lot of the fundamental work and looking at what different systems to pull together and what kind of numbers we get back, because we do have the capability now with software to quantify these buildings just to be sure that we're getting everything we think we're getting out of them.
When you're actually constructing a building from the ground up, is it more expensive to make it more energy efficient and greener?
Not at all. In our history, that the projects that we've done, we've been under budget with the same budgets that others have used to build schools in the same way.
Really? So not only are they saving up front, but then they're saving down the road as well.
Long term, absolutely. And you're not using up the energy that otherwise, is just not good to use, and our carbon footprint is a lot less.
Why isn't everybody doing this then?
I think it's catching on. I think that we call it the green movement, actually, and it really is something that we need to all do together. And I think that just collectively across society, not only in buildings, but everywhere, we're really looking seriously at many ways to slow ourselves down and live more naturally.
How did you get involved in this, in a sort of green agricultural movement?
Well, I think I've been a member.
No, I said agriculture. I meant architectural.
Architectural.
You're not a farmer, are you? No.
Not really, no. But we do have natural plants on roofs that we grow, and love to see plants and animals like birds and various things actually get inside them, which is really nice. Mm-hmm. But I've been a member of Greenpeace for about 30 years since its inception, and it's always been there. But now that we can actually measure these buildings, we can determine exactly what we're doing with them. So it's a great benefit.
Do you have any tips for what we can do in our homes?
Well, right now there's really good incentives by the federal government to insulate your homes, and it's federal and provincial, where you can insulate your homes and put in new furnaces, and you can get about 75% of that cost back. And it's really a good idea. It's one of the best programs that they've ever done, simply because rather than spend all the money building a new plant somewhere, a new nuclear reactor, to just push all this energy out all these inefficient homes, they're making all the homes very energy efficient. So they're saving energy doing it that way. And it's a very good incentive program for everyone to get on board with.
I love the word conservation. Mm-hmm. And I think we all should be heading in that direction. But I find it a little disturbing, not to get political, but we're seeing the U.S. presidential race, and there's so much talk about more energy and more plants and more production. And I think, is that really the direction in which we want to head?
Well, I think that, we are growing, of course, but there are ways to do it in a very efficient way. I saw Bill Clinton speak last year in Chicago, and he stated that this is the best opportunity for just the green movement, that is the best opportunity for expansion and since the World War II in terms of economic prosperity. So we can work within the green movement and still do very well. And it's not something that people think that they think right now is going to cost so much more, but it really doesn't. It's just living well and living in a way that you look at nature a little bit better.
Oh, I love that. It's so good to have you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melanie.
Take care. Continue the wonderful work.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Joe Passa, president of Passa Associates Incorporated here in Windsor. And I just love this, that there are people who, they're working on this very diligently. They want to make better buildings. And it's nice to hear that, no, it's not more expensive to do this. Actually, he said it's less expensive to do this. And then you have all these great savings, not only money-wise, but energy-wise down the road. And that's great news.